aquí presente la tremenda guarachera Celia Cruz. Sigamos disfrutando de este show.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. And here we are at episode 100. We have come such a long way from our humble beginnings in June of 2020. A person I really want to give a big shout out to is Mr. Alejandro De La Torre for really inspiring me to start this podcast, as well as Edwin Rivera, all the way from LA. Big shout out as well. Big shout out to Granada as well. Big shout out to DJ Cello for his recovery fund. A link to his recovery fund will be here after this podcast tonight. As well, want to give a big shout out to Viva la Bachata. We are the sponsor of the week for the Viva la Bachata sets coming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And everyone, tonight here, we have two amazing people, a powerhouse duo, two people that I've been following for so many years, even presently during this pandemic and all of the work they've been able to accumulate and do. Two people that I've been very inspired by for so many years. And here I want to bring all the way from the Portland area, representing Portland and LA, Benny and Ashley.
What's up, guys? What's up? 100.
What's up, my brother. Thank you. Episode 100. Before we get started into things, I had to write you also because I was like, wait, I'm putting up this video and I'm like, wait, is this Brandon? I guess sometimes I'm like, wait, I'm making sure this is Betty and Brandon. Because, like, you know, so you guys have that look. Sometimes you get a little bit like, wait, who's who? But honestly, it's a real pleasure and honor to have you guys, especially episode 100 of this podcast tonight.
Thank you for having us. And
yes, thank you. We're super excited.
Super excited.
And us.
Yeah, honored, excited, and a little nervous, but let's see what happens.
No, of course. I mean, all the way from the East Coast here, that where I'm at, to you guys over there in Portland. For me, like I've told you privately as well, my focus on creating this platform was I wanted to take those same conversations that a lot of us artists have, whether it's in a hotel room or in a private time, and bring that to center stage and allow those same supporters that support you guys all over the world, that share your videos, now to gain a better understanding of artists like yourselves. Like we've talked, I've been following you guys, even dating back to about 2018. realizing as well, Ashley, I knew you were familiar because you work with Grizzly Dance Company. And then Benny as well, you and your brother doing amazing work as well. I saw that your younger brother now is getting involved and doing some of his work.
Actually,
Yes.
my young people think he's my younger brother, but he's my middle brother. His name's so when we put us together, we're the 3 Bs.
All right, I like that. I like that. And Ashley, you coming from the LA over to Portland, from really, as I would say, the big bright lights over there to kind of the grungy Portland area in a sense.
Thanks.
I think I brought a lot of sun with me because everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so rainy and gloomy. I'm like, I don't see it at all. I feel like I brought the sun with me.
Absolutely. And then at least before we get started into things, I want to give a big shout out to DJ Immersive all the way from the DC area, showing some love over here. As well as DJ Immersive saying to Benny, yo, Benny, I'm waiting for you for Warzone. So that is a challenge right now that you have. So
he has to stay with me. No.
But, you know, I definitely think tonight, at least for the time that we have, is a chance really to celebrate your success thus far, because many people say, oh, we give these artists their flowers at the end. No, I want to give them while they're here and while they're just kicking and pushing forward and letting them know that they have support. There are artists and people from the other side of, you know, the East Coast that are watching what you guys are doing and appreciating it, because it's what it's doing. It's pushing the culture forward. Realizing, like I've told you guys, I've seen so many teams, whether it's East Coast, West Coast, South America, you name it, Central, coming and performing, especially in the States, and realizing how routines, there's so many, but there are very few groups that distinguish themselves and separate themselves from the pack. And I would definitely say the work that you, Benny and Ashley, are doing or have been doing is amazing because of the intricacies of just the way, the complex patterns. But most of all, I think it's the stage presence. It's the facial expressions. It's the hunger you see from both of you. Because I think too, and I'm completely honest here, I think that's what's been lacking in our dance scene for so many years was you didn't get it from everyone, but artists like yourselves, I can look into your face and tell that you want this rather than it just given to you. And I come from my show, I talk to my friends and I leave. You guys have been making big waves, especially on the West Coast, even in Italy at Mambo Land, Milano. I've seen that work. Amazing. And yeah, really, as we get started here on this podcast tonight, how I love to understand the artist is taking it back. In the beginning of taking it back before the dancing, even though I've seen some videos, Benny, of you and your brother when y'all were much younger, had a little bit more hair, I think, and you guys were just, you know, doing your things in the living room and some crazy. I've done kind of my research, and Ashley will definitely get into it. And again, the focus now is, or my first question I'd like to ask is from both of you, who were Benny and Ashley before dance?
Before dance.
You go first.
Well, I've danced all my life. I've been dancing since I was about like 10, because I was part of a team where we would do like merengue and like belly dancing and like punta and all that stuff. But it was just a way for me to do something. My mom didn't know if I was gonna like it, so she was like, "Oh, just do it. I'm here anyway, so I'm coming." Because my mom was part of like an adult team. She's like, "I'm here, just come with me," and I was like, "Okay, I'll go with you." And then she was like, "Oh wow, she really likes it. Let me find a kids team for her." And when I was 11, I joined a kids team called Latino Explosion. So I've always been around the dancing scene. It wasn't just going to school and doing other things. I played some soccer too, and my mom did not like me playing soccer. She was like, "No, you got to be a dancer. You're good at it. Be a dancer." But you know, mothers are always gonna like butter you up. Usually,
yeah.
But mothers butter you up, and they're like, "You're super good, so you have to keep doing it." So I always danced, and I went to high school. I still danced. I went to college, and I was dancing at the same time. And I actually got my bachelor's in psychology, and I worked as a behavior interventionist before I did like full time with Benny. I was high paid nanny is what Benny calls me for children with autism. But I really loved the work doing it until like I was dancing and I was kind of losing that spark of dance because I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was more like we were talking about in LA. We love theatrics, and we really do. I cannot take that part away from me, but it was getting to the point where for me it was a little bit too much, and I really wanted to learn more about salsa because I felt like that's something that I was lacking, and I wanted to keep on growing in the actual understanding of salsa, where it came from, and I wanted to learn on two specifically the roots of it. So Benny and I started communicating, started talking, and he was like, hey, let's do this project. I have these other people that I'm doing projects with too. So I want to know like if you and me are going to work out. Like,
wait, I'm sorry. This sounds like almost like a date or like
it was an audition. Audition.
Yeah,
it was an audition.
It was auditioning.
I call it an audition.
And it's funny because I've been super competitive since I was little, and when he said that to me, that he was like doing other projects with other people and all of that, I was like, okay, like this is a good competition for me to see, like if I can really like win this, whatever this is. I don't know.
I was the prize.
I don't know. It sounds. I know, hopefully no girls out there are like, Ashley, come on, don't think like that. But in my sense, it was like this competition. It was this competition that I was like, I'm going to win this, you know?
Yeah.
So when I was there, I wasn't even doing anything extra or anything. I was just being myself. And I was like, I was confident that on what I was doing, I was going to bring something new to his dance and to our dancing. And we really did with the first routine. I think that it's our baby, and it had a lot of dramaticness still. I started to realize the type of style that I kind of lean towards. I started to realize too that my on-two or my stepping and all of that was very bad, and I still needed to keep on training. And we were doing this back and forth LA, Portland thing, and flights are not too expensive, but they accumulate over time. And then I was like, I need to move. If I really want to do this, I need to move. And it was my decision to come over here because of the dancing. Yeah, the relationship happened after. But I wanted to really to keep dancing and to expand my knowledge in on-two, because when I came here the first time, Benny, Brandon, Brian, his parents, they were talking about dancing as soon as we woke up until we slept. And never been part of an environment like that where it was dancing 24/7, where I was learning about history, where the mambo actually came from, where it was separate. Like I just thought salsa, LA, because in LA we're a little bit conceited.
Just a little
bit. And we think salsa is only until now. Like we have a couple of artists that are expanding and they're growing and they're going other places and they're bringing that knowledge back. But at that time, when I was a little bit younger, it was just only salsa in LA. So when I came here, I felt, wow, like salsa's everywhere, you know, mambo's everywhere. And there's more to it. There's history, there's culture, there's art, there's so many things. And I had never seen it. I felt like a little girl in Disneyland. So I loved it. And I was like, I gotta stay here.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Wow. So Benny, how did your journey start? Because I see it's a lot of history there.
Yeah, I think for me, my journey much more simple, because when I started, my mom actually, she's been teaching quinceañeras, and she was telling me, she's like, oh, I want to get interviewed next time, so I'm gonna send you a message. So the way that we started with was in quinceañeras. Actually, it's like a sweet 16.
Yes.
But in Mexico they do 15. She's been doing that for 30 years. So the way I started was being like a chambelan. Like she had like a group of
the boys,
boys, like, oh, you can hire them and they know how to dance already. So I was trying to get into that crew of my mom's group, because she would hang out with them more than she would hang out with me sometimes.
It's a business.
Yeah, it was a business. I was upsetting. I was like, no, there's no way. I'm like, I'm gonna be there so I can be with you more. And so that's how I started dancing. And after that, I think it was like 4 years after I started dancing, my mom opened the school that we have now, and she dances salsa, but it's before it was called salsa sonidera, so it's from Mexico. It's danced a little bit different, but when she moved here, after she opened the school, she started going out to nightclubs and like salsa dancing and stuff, and it was danced different, right? So it was called like salsa linea. It's what Mexico call it. So she started getting into that, and when she started that, I started right after her, basically. So we learned basically kind of together. We would go to congresses together and classes together, and I've never said this before, but Jason Molina and Osmo Perrones kicked me out of their class the first year I've never told no one. I'm saying,
to be fair, he didn't even know.
I didn't know anything though. I didn't know anything, but I was with my mom. I was there with my mom, and they kicked me out. So after that, the chip on my shoulder with New York.
No.
You feel me?
Oh man, I completely understand.
And so then after that, what happened was like after that incident, I was like, I'm like, you know what, like. I could do this. Like I can dance. And then, but I never performed. I didn't perform until one of my first shows, like was like 8-9 years ago now with Brandon in a nightclub. It was like the first show ever. But even like back then, what inspired us, we would watch a lot of YouTube videos. And I know like I saw a lot of memes out there when the pandemic happened that instructors telling you to not learn on YouTube, and now instructors telling you to learn through video is like
yeah. The irony now.
The irony, right? And so me and my brother Brandon, we were inspired a lot by Juan Matos and Adolfo when they first came out with La Re. And I remember we were in the studio, and I'm like, look at these guys, like they look so cool. Like it was cool to see two guys dancing together in my what I to say like wait. No, without like before that, we had seen two guys dancing together, and it was a lot of same gender stuff, a lot of couple stuff. Like, one guy, one lead, one follow. But now it was like two guys dancing next to each other. Like, damn, this is sick. It looks dope. Let's do it. And then I was like, and he's like, you think we can? Brandon would tell me, you think we can do that? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we could do better. They're not that good. That's what I had never performed before. I didn't know what the hell. I didn't know how to dance on two yet. But we were like, let's do it. And that's after that, our lives have literally been the same. Like from 8-9 years ago, I think that's the secret to what we've done is the consistency. And yeah, sometimes maybe we don't practice as much, or sometimes we focus more on some things, but it's literally my life has been the same for the past almost 10 years now. Every day in the studio. I'm literally in the studio every day. If I don't go to the studio one day, I feel kind of weird sometimes.
Wow.
So I think that's been the main thing up to now. And now Ashley's living it. And to me, in my eyes, at least from when she moved to now, you can see the big change. You can see the I guess the growth, but it's the same thing. She's living in the studio now. It's like, I always look at it like we were talking before, like sports is like, you have to do what you've been doing from the beginning if you want to continue the same success you had.
Yes.
And you've also had a couple of things along the way that have helped you be where you are now.
Yeah, of course. I went to Italy to train with one of my maestros, Adolfo.
Yes.
I trained with him. It was 6 years in a consecutive years. I would go to Italy and train with him for 2 to 3 months every year. So definitely that helped me experience a lot, see things through a different light, and see that this could be a profession if you really stick to it and if you really sacrifice.
Absolutely. Because like you said, with you and Ashley, then your lives are the studio. That is the pure example of putting that 10,000 hours in. Because, you know, as you said, you were younger, that moment with Osmal and Jason Molina kind of like putting a little like fire in you. Yeah. And you saying, yeah, I can do this. I can probably do it better. Most people would even say that. But in reality, a lot of us think of it that way when we're put in that type of situation. It's kind of like, you know.
Yeah. And to me, like the biggest inspiration I get during maybe the past 3 years, ever since I started with Ashley, it's been almost 4 years now, no? Something like that. Has been
you better say it right. You better make sure
for
it's been more sports now, like Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, like.
Mhm.
And I always tell Ashley, I'm like, if I'm talking crap, then I gotta back it up, you know. So if I say that I want to be the best, or I am the best, or like things I say in the studio, then I gotta back it up, prove it to them. I'm saying it to myself to prove it to myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Oh,
like.
no.
It's always been that, and like when I'm with Ashley or when I'm with Brandon, it's always to me a 1v1, a competition. It's
Yes.
never a partnership.
No, never.
It's always a, oh, you think you're good, or oh, you think you have more energy than me. Oh,
Yeah.
In our studio, like when we're training, it's like do or die, perform. Like I want to see you.
Yes.
But
You're competing. You're not training. You're
I'll
competing.
definitely say that it takes a certain person with a certain mindset to be able to be with someone that's like this, because you cannot take it personally. He's not really trying to put me down.
Yeah.
Trying to get the best out of me in
Yeah.
a different way. And he has had to figure out how I'm different than Brandon, right?
Yeah.
How he needs to get that
Yeah.
spark or that
Yeah.
light to
It
come
took me.
out.
It took me a good year to figure out Ashley was a girl, so she was gonna be
Yes,
different.
it did. It definitely took him a year to figure out that I was not a guy.
Well, I think Ashley, I think what really helped, what you said earlier, your work with behavior intervention
Right.
and realizing people's behavior. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed it before of
Oh.
when you were meeting him and understanding like how kind of your work before intertwined with this, because when you're doing couple work, when you're doing anything or a partnership with anyone, you're learning that person's behavior
Right.
in order to coexist.
Right. And just how you said, when I worked with children with autism, a lot of the stuff that they were doing, they were not doing it to hurt me.
Yes.
They were doing it because that they have no other, they couldn't do anything else, right? They need help controlling their behavior. They need help understanding what's right and what's wrong. And with Benny, I had to go through that as well. And
Mhm.
like you said, all life's work that I did in my outside field helps me for this moment, right? Like it helps me be able to understand he's not really trying to put me down.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks he is. What he wants to do is he wants someone that's going to be able to be there with him, pushing at the same
Mhm.
time. Because Brandon gives it to him. Like if you guys,
I have to get to his level because he's younger. He's 8 years younger
if
than
you
me.
guys see them,
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah. see them practice, it's insane because Brandon doesn't get tired. Brandon's like a freaking machine. He doesn't get tired. He's like always doing full energy, and I'm like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Look, not even huffing and puffing. Oh, like freaking
Oh.
hate.
But he's saying that, and I'm next to him,
He's
huffing
like-
and puffing. So it
Yeah.
pisses me off. So then I have to go off, but it's
But-
the only way to push each other.
But something that I understood really quickly was Benny was looking for a partner that
Yeah.
gave that same motivation or
Yeah.
that same energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was up to me whether I wanted to be a part of it or not, 100%. Whether I wanted to deal with everything.
I won't say their names, but I had 3 partners when we did the audition thing. No, 2. So Ashley was the 3rd one, but I had 2 that had came to Portland to
Audition.
audition.
Yeah.
And one time there was one girl that I dropped her off at the airport. I stayed at the airport for 1 hour and then I picked Ashley up. I won't say their names though. I won't
Oh my God. I mean, if they do get to see this, they'll know who they are. And
Yeah,
we'll
they
see
know.
what-
They know.
But he had a lot of growth as well. But that's the thing about a partnership.
Yeah.
You can grow together. It's like a relationship. In a relationship, you cannot just be with someone and expect for that to be your Prince Charming. Like
Mhm.
most likely they're not going to be a Prince Charming. Just like in partnership and dancing together, we had to learn how to work with each other and how to be better each day. I had to push way more, train way more on the outside because he had years of experience going with Adolfo,
Yeah.
onto dancing with his brother, and I had to kind of like play catch up and be
Yeah.
like work extra hours to be able to fix.
She had to get
things.
those 10,000 hours you were talking about. She had to get them in 2.
I mean,
Like his parents have helped me along the way. Bryant too, on how I should be working with my basic, how I should be listening to music, how
Yeah.
just dancing, right? Or just performing. Because I don't want to say that's the easier part because it is hard for a lot of people, but that's the part that for me at least I didn't struggle with. It was everything else. It was everything else besides that.
And realizing that, because like you said, you coming from LA, and Benny, you and your family coming from Portland. I mean, LA is just known as a huge dancing city on one LA style. For you, Benny, my question to you is, coming from Portland, did you also feel like you had that chip on the shoulder? Because as we've talked, I've known people that have come in and out of Portland, but to realize that Portland was slowly gaining steam, because when you and your brother came out, and I'm sure that there were people beforehand in that Portland area, but for me, my main focus was when I saw you and your brother working, two brothers now doing that training with Adolfo and now making your mark. Did you kind of feel like, you know, your city was now starting to become more well-known in a sense?
Well, yeah, that's always been definitely my goal, because when we opened the school, like I was talking to you before, like we're not in Portland in the city. We're in Hillsborough, which is a suburb, maybe like 25 minutes out.
Yeah.
So it's even further out for some people. Like those 30 minutes is a long drive, so they don't even want to train, right? But our main goal was always to, the way I think one of the ways I convinced Ashley was like, people that, and it's not a knock on people that dance on teams, but to experience people saying your name, your full name, your last name, where you're from, it's a different feeling. It's a feel, and the people reacting to it, because and that's like another one. It's like a +2, because people can say your name and then it's like, okay, come, let's see what you got. Cool. But when people say your name, or when people just see, even just like I've seen it before, like the lights are off and you can see our silhouette because we're on stage and people are already screaming. They haven't even said nothing. Like those things mean things, right? Yeah. So when I hear Hillsborough, Portland, like when I hear those things, to me, it means that that our training and our dancing is enough. We didn't, there's, like you said, there's been so many dancers from Portland. There's so many dancers from LA that move big cities thinking that's what they need. That's what it takes. And it's not true. And I'm here to say it on live TV. It's not true. You don't have to move. You just have to work harder. Yeah. And my dad, he would tell me all the time, you should go to New York. You should go to LA. You should go do this. You should go do that. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm good, because I'm going to be the first one. I'm going to be the one of many, the first to come, to prove that you don't have to leave. You just have to work harder, be smarter. And yeah, it does take a little bit of traveling. But I always say I'm like one of those old explorers that used to go in the ships in the oceans, and they would come back to their home and bring different cultures, different spices, and teach people the way. And that's my main goal, to go and learn. And look what I've learned this, I've seen this. So you don't have to go out and look for it. So you don't have to go out and move and think that's the only way. It's not true.
I definitely understand that. And for me, realizing too is that when like you said, you had 3 partners in total, 2, and then you have Ashley, and realizing that these people made the decision to go from where they were from, come all the way to Portland, Hillsborough area, and kind of be separate from all the other influences around them that they're probably used to, and literally train and work. And I think that's really important, because that separates those that really want it and those that just want it for the moment. Because
exactly.
I noticed, especially around 2018, even before then, you were doing your work with your brother, but then the work you started doing with Ashley it exceeded my expectations, because most people would say, all right, you got a shine routine. The next question is, what is that partner work routine going to look like?
Yeah. And usually what it is, not to cut you off, but usually it's trash, right? Like you're good at one thing, you're probably not good at the other thing, right?
Or it's not trash. Maybe it's just, it looks more like shines. Maybe you think.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. Cut that, edit that part out. Edit that part out.
Oh, it's funny to me you even say that, because as I'm speaking to you, the pre-assumption from people I knew from especially LA, I would think Benny was from LA and Ashley was from Portland.
Really?
No.
I got because I love is that the brashness, especially from you, Benny, because like you said, there were moments like that you were putting those moments like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna have to prove some people wrong. and realizing now over the years, you put yourself in a position, and now with both of you working together, I think you both had something to prove, and really not to other people, but to yourselves.
Yeah, it's always been to ourselves. And I think that's I've been saying it, I think ever since I started dancing with Ashley, maybe with Brandon too, I've been saying it from the beginning. Like, I personally don't like to compete like in competitions just because of the way I know how hard it is to score points, and like the way to look for it. It's not very simple. Like, you know, like in basketball, you score a basket, you get 2 points, right? It's not that simple in dancing. But even when you're just doing shows,
train with
a certain level of competition and a certain level of edge to when you're practicing, to when you're performing, to when you're around people like that are peers, I guess. Because in my eyes, I always told Ashley, because Ashley compete more than me. She would compete with Grizzly and her teams and stuff. And I would always tell her, and I would always tell Brennan too, I'm like, if we compete this year, if we did compete, we would have won. We didn't have to compete. I'm like, we worked that hard in the studio. We work hard enough that if we want to compete, we could. We don't have to because we choose not to. So that's why that year when we went to La Negra and we won, it was like I was like shit. Like I was like, damn, I was actually talking truth. I was like,
yeah, because with Benny, he says a lot of things. Kind of mentally prepare himself. So he's not literally saying, well, I mean, he is saying it literally, I guess. He's not saying like, if I was in the competition, I would win. I think it's a different skill. It's definitely something that you'll have to learn how to do. And at that time, whether it was with me or with Brandon, he was not ready, or they were not ready as a partnership.
Yeah.
Mentally preparing themselves to be there. That's why he would say that a lot. If I was in the competition, I would win, because he's manifesting it and he's like really digging into it so it can happen.
Yeah, because then I have to, like I said, back it up.
Yeah, he has to back it up.
Like we were just talking with Brandon like a week ago, and we were talking to a student here that he came from Mexico City to train during the pandemic. You know, big ups too. And we were telling him, we like, oh, you're running the routine, you're doing it, but you're not performing. And Brandon told him straight up too, like, he's like, yeah, me and Benny would go full out. Whether, like, I remember still when we were at the clubs and there was like 6 people or 7 people, and you know, you can hear the waiters in the background. But me and Brandon thought we were in full competition, going full out, trying to kill each other, like dancing. But then it's like, that's what it takes in terms of consistency. If you see it's do or die, this is your last show, then prove to me it's your last show. Like, to me, like, that's the way I see it. It's like I said, Michael Jordan, like game 6, 5 7 o'clock, and you got to make the shot. There's no going back. You got to make it to win. And that's what it is.
Yes, because imagine with all that's going on right now, our last shows, can you really say that you danced them like if it was your last show? I know that for Benny and myself, we could say that because we always say it right before we're going to perform. We say we have to perform like this is our last show because tomorrow.
That's absolutely true. I mean, see, like going over, especially on YouTube or just videos I've seen of you guys, the presence, the stage presence, the facial expressions, everything is on point every show. And I think that's something that, in my opinion, lacked in a lot of congresses, festivals, social dances, performances at socials a lot. I mean, you saw so many of the same groups. And I think what happened was a lot of groups got complacent. They can go to a social and half-ass it, but go to a congress and say, I'm ready. But realizing there were very few groups like yourselves that was ready every time, no matter if it was a show, like you said, Benny, with 6 people there. I'm going to get a show like it's 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then Ashley, you having that experience with Grizzly, you already know what that lifestyle was like. So with Benny, you and your brother then doing the trainings, and then having also that influence with Ashley coming in and training, I think was key because she knew the Congress lifestyle probably and knew what it entails. I mean, and I think with both your personalities, you actually being a behavior intervention specialist, would you call it? And Benny, you having that drive, she could understand you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The difference, because
Definitely.
another person probably wouldn't understand the
No.
reasoning of what the method to the madness.
They would just think
Yeah.
he's crazy
Yeah.
and that
I actually
It's
like
too
when
much.
when people called me. I think it was like a phase like 4 or 5 years ago
oh
when
yeah.
like people were calling me
Ridiculous.
crazy, and I loved it. I like
Yeah.
when people call me crazy.
Oh my god. I think you're a little bit too much Mike Tyson. You're a little too maybe Michael Jordan, maybe a Mike Tyson.
I bite Ashley's ear off right
No,
now.
he won't.
Oh my god. No, it looks like she'd hurt you.
It hurt me.
So now my question is, you guys, of course, then are training, and Benny, you realize that this is really going to work. You're doing your trainings, and then comes the shows. When was the moment, or actually, what was that first show moment like backstage right before you performed?
To
The
me,
first one.
I was, and it's the way I like to train personally.
Yeah.
The reason I like to train so hard, and I guess you could say now that we're talking about it very aggressively, is because on that day, it's easy.
It should be.
Because I've done it like 10 times in a row. How can I not do it once? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the way I like to train personally. Like you'll see me in the studio and it'll be like, Benny looks bad. He's like falling over and dying because I'm running it that much. But then in my mind, just even that 1%, if it helps me to be like, I've done this 10 times. Like, how am I not gonna do it one time perfect right now? Let's just go. So my aura when I'm about to perform is to exude confidence, to be confident. So I get nervous.
But
so
your first show with me
before
was
that
confidence?
I was nervous, but I wasn't super nervous.
So you were nervous.
But I knew,
Yes.
but I knew what was gonna happen, and I had told Ashley, I'm like, when this show drops, it's gonna be a bomb. It's gonna be, and it was.
When that first week, the week before that,
It was Hell Week, though. It was Hell
It
Week.
was Hell Week for 2 weeks because the week before that, I was also briefly, I have to say, I was briefly with Omambo, and there was a show in Boston where Benny performed with Omambo, and I asked Omar, I was like, Omar, well, I didn't ask him actually. I was kind of nervous. I was kind of nervous. I was scared with Omar because he also helped us a lot in our routine in Blancas. Omar helped us like use the floor and do this, and he's really, really good.
He coached us.
Yeah, he's really at those things. And I asked Benny, can you please ask Omar if we can dance together? Because I want to feel your energy. I want to feel what it feels like on stage before our debut. So our first show, and Benny was blanking out.
I learned the routine in 2 hours. That's why.
I was like leading.
I gotta give it up to you. 2 hours, like
I already kind of knew the routine, but he had to remember it, right?
Yeah.
And, it's hard because he's not in LA, so he doesn't practice with Omambo a lot. And I was like in the middle of the show, I was like leading him through everything and still dancing. I was like, oh my gosh, this better not be how our show is. It's so terrible. And then from Boston, he came straight to Los Angeles, and we were practicing and practicing and practicing. And we have this trick where we go in between the legs and over. And me being a trickster, I'm like, this is easy, right? In my mind, but it's not. And we couldn't get it. We just could not get it this week of the show. And I was like, oh my God.
The day before the show.
Like the day before the show too.
It wasn't coming out.
It didn't come out. It just felt really rough. And I was like, man, you know what? Well, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
I was nervous. And I remember right before that, I was like, I cannot believe that we're here and we don't even know the trick. Whatever. I'm going to do it. I always say, I'm always that type of person that is like, I'm going to show up. Just like Benny always says. And when we performed, we did the trick. And I was like, I can't believe we freaking did it.
Right. You forgot the rest of the routine.
Right?
Oh my God.
Right after that trick, I come out of a turn and I do a big hot toe, right? And I was like, flipped right out of the hot toe because of how hype I was. And I just started running back to bed doing the routine. And right after that, like that feeling, I couldn't express it because I didn't know what was going to happen.
You couldn't tell, but it felt like forever. It was like literally like half a second. You couldn't tell.
But I did not know what was going to happen right before our first show. I was nervous. I was like, this is my opportunity to show everyone here in Los Angeles. There was a lot of people at that Unified.
It was shout out to Mario Gatica.
Yes,
he's the one that
for like allowing us to debut there,
and it's a big social out. It was almost like a congress, like 1,000 people.
It was one of the biggest socials in LA at the time, and I was nervous. Everyone from LA was there. All my prior peers dancers. My mom was there, and my mom stopped going to my show, so that was the first one that she actually came back to. And then all my peers after were also there too, and it was like a little bit nerve-wracking because I was like, are they here to support me? Are they here to judge me? Like, what's happening, you know? And right after that, and I the support that we got from everybody, it was amazing. I was like, I can't believe that we actually did this. And that's when I felt that we were going to be good together. I was like, this is good. It felt so great. And nobody else existed. Right after the show, nobody else existed. It was just Benny and me.
Yeah. and realizing that usually that first show, the fact that you guys had a chance to kind of have that experience beforehand,
it helped.
It was key. Big shout out to Omar from O Mambo.
Thanks, Omar.
You know, and realizing too is that you said those moments happen. I know what it feels like when you have that one specific part in routine that is just really hard to get, whether it's a trick or a specific turn pattern. And it usually does come out. It usually comes out great at the show. Usually, like, it's always the week of, the days before, and then it just happens. So kind of asked you, kind of answered it, but I think I go a little further into it. My next question would be for both of you is, when did you both definitively know, wow, you guys, like, we got this, like, we are really on to something here?
To me at least, was when we finished the routine. So maybe like 3-4 months before that, 2 months before that. Once the routine was done, I knew it was going to be something good, because you can feel it. You can feel when there's good energy and when all productive. I'm not going to say positive because it's not.
Yeah.
Productive.
Right.
Because it could be productive in a negative, with negative energy, but negative energy meaning a lot of pressure, a lot of push and pull. That's good. I think good too for growing pains, because there was growing pains from the beginning. But that first routine, I do think it might be our best one, because it's like I love listening to rap, right? It's like Reasonable Doubt, which was his first album, and to me that's the best one he ever made. But it didn't really go like Blueprint, right?
Okay, I see you got some knowledge there. I didn't know you was going.
You guys heard it first. You guys might stop following me, but I listen to rap more than I listen to salsa. 1000%. I love.
Now it makes perfect sense. The way I see you on stage makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, I love rap.
He uses a lot of rap references,
yes.
But it's okay because he doesn't listen to salsa, and that's all I listen to.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait. So. And that's amazing, because sometimes the musical influences on people, it kind of you can see it even through their performance. Yeah. You can see that grit, you can see the grind, you can see the flow. And I think that's really key, because while watching you guys over the years perform, even going back to 2018 when you guys that I saw started doing routines, going to places in LA, going to Reno, going to Chicago afterwards, going to Mambo Land, realizing with you guys that this was something different, because the way you hit the notes was key. Because I have seen so many couples and so many groups that try to challenge themselves and use songs that have really just definitive notes, and a lot of them can't hit it, or they try it and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
When you guys do it, in a sequence that I would see footwork, you put partner work and made it work, and vice versa. And I think too, both of you guys' personality and the way you guys work, I think just by hearing you, it makes sense how it works in routine. So a question I have is, from the both of you, who is really like kind of, I would say maybe both of you are, but who really is that kind of creative genius of probably just throwing random things in and taking things maybe to a different level? Like, who's kind of the balance, and who's kind of the, I just want to go for it?
So each routine is different. Each routine is for like one of our likings. And as Margaritas, it was more for like my liking and what I could do, because Benny wanted to do Take 5 from Tito Puente.
Like a jazzy.
Oh, wow. Yes, that is a really amazing song.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I wanted. That was my vision or idea for that first routine with Ashley. But after the first practice, I was
girl
like,
right here. could barely do a Suzy Q
After
with
that
a
first
twist.
practice, I was like, but this is not gonna work.
And-
Ashley thought that was the last time we were gonna ever talk.
Yes. So this was Reno
Mhm.
in 2017. 2017 or 18 or something like that. Something like that. Either or 18. No, 17. It had to be 17. So 2017, Reno, and Benny's like, oh, this is the routine we're gonna dance to. And it was take 5. And he was like, okay, we're gonna do Suzy Q twist, stop, 6, 7. And I was like, what? Okay. And I couldn't do it. I was like, because I'm very used to on one, I'm very used to flat feet.
Mhm.
I wasn't ready to go. I didn't know the technique. And it was the worst practice I've ever had in my life. And I was like, oh, this guy is never gonna want to dance with me again. Well, we gave it a shot. And then he gave me Blancas. He sent me that song, he was like, I think this is gonna fit.
I think
you
I
better.
have a song that's better for us, for you. I said.
Yeah, he said for me, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I love this song. Yes, this is more me. And we did Blancas, and when we did Tumba, which was the purple routine that you put the show.
Mhm.
Benny was like, I really want to do this. I want to create shapes and lines and all of this. And I'm like, he was very, very creative, very on top of it. And I was
just trying to put the craziest, dumbest things you've ever seen together.
Yeah.
Like, literally the point of that show.
And in that show, I'm literally squeezing my stomach, my butt, everything from beginning to end, because I'm like going hit, and all these things, right? Which I'm a little, because of with Grizzly, we had a lot more routines like that.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, like I can make that vision come to life. And it was hard always, because if I could do it, he would change it so it could be way more difficult, so I couldn't do it.
But that's I think where we get the different things, right? Like, because if you can do it already, then what's the point of doing it? Like, there's no point to me. There's no point in something you already did or something you've done or know how to do.
Right.
For us, it's always the reason we take so long on our shows. Like, I think that purple piece took like a year to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because we came back to it. We had to come back to it. It was no way. It was hard.
And then the green routine, which is the one where I have like a very flowy dress.
Yes.
Classic.
That one was done because I told Benny, I really want to work on my crossbody leads. I really want to work on turning, my fundamentals.
I didn't want to practice that. I said, there's no point.
He didn't want to.
So I'm like, let's just make a routine up
yeah.
that has that. And we can be like our way to practice, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that routine was more, again, for me so that I could practice. But then when I felt more comfortable and confident with it, I was able to perform it. And I love that routine.
Yes. So does Mikey Movimiento love that routine as well.
So Benny, I was like, this routine makes me feel like a princess. Like I'm like, it's all about me. And he's like, yeah, like he's a gentleman.
I'm like, it's cute.
Cool,
it's cute.
Right?
It's okay.
And then our red routine, which we haven't been able to perform so much, which
we're gonna bring it back though. Yeah, because that one we debuted in January, 2 months before everything happened, the pandemic. So we performed it like 3 times.
Yeah, that routine is crazy. Yeah. And I guess to answer your question, because I've been just going around in circles. Like,
it's okay.
A lot of the times Benny has these creative and crazy things in his head, or he'll be like, I hear this, ba-da-ba-bam. And I'm like, and he's like, what would you do with that, ba-dam-bam-bam? But I want a leg, and I want a spin on one foot, and I want you to dip. And I'm like,
and wear a hat.
Almost, right? And I'm like, okay, I can do a leg, I can do a spin on one foot, and I can dip. Boom. And I would like come up with whatever I can think.
Yeah.
Really makes sense to what he's saying, right? Or I'll be like, you know what? I don't hear that. Like, I think this is more like dominant. Like this sound is a little bit bigger than that one. And he'll be either say yes, or he'll really stick to the no and be like, no, what I'm saying makes sense. And I'll try it. And most of the time, I want to say 80% of the time, we do with what he's saying, because his hits are actually pretty big, or like make sense with what we're choreographing.
Mm-hmm.
And that 20% of the time, I have to try it maybe 10 different ways for him to just get out of it. Like to be like, okay, you know what's just not working. But he like really pushes me to be able to think of doing one specific sound in many. But if I didn't have the skill to be able to do one sound in many ways, to either a shine or a partner work or a little fancy, which is what we call legs and stuff. If I wouldn't have that skill, then his vision wouldn't come to life. Does that make sense?
Oh no, yeah, it definitely makes sense because you need someone to kind of have those crazy ideas, and the other one kind of be a realist and say, "All right, we're capable of doing this, and this is what we're not capable of." But I think especially when you guys are on stage, everything works in unison.
Yeah.
Because from the song selection, from the trick selection, from the speed, from the mood of everything, I think that's what truly separates you guys because watching it, especially, I think too, the moments when you're like one of my favorite shows is when you're at Reno and just seeing with the lighting, with the stage, how much you have, you can tell that you guys
Do a good job at that. The production
Yeah.
is always on 1,000.
Yes.
because I mean it's total difference from a social setting to a performance setting like a congress or a festival.
I'll tell you,
Because
it's huge. So us
Oh, yeah.
tiny, or me tinier, it's really hard to move around. So we have to like practice or like think of how we're gonna still make the routine look good and not look tiny on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean it's different when you have a group than you just have two
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that are gonna just like take everything over.
Exactly.
I mean, because you being able to utilize the stage and still give people a show, because we understand too what guests on the stage, guests who are watching, their attention span is very, very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing like, hey, we need to in these 2 minutes, 3 minutes, probably max, we need to get all that attention and push forward.
Yeah.
And now understanding, you know, throughout the years, you guys being able to perform and kind of into the present day, then COVID happens. Like you said, in January 2020, you guys are probably already just did that routine maybe a maximum of 3 times.
Yeah.
And then now everything kind of changed around March.
Yeah.
The same socials and events we were planning to go to now are being shut down. Now
Yeah.
the same people we were intending to hang out with, that's put on hold. So, I mean, the question now that I have is from that moment, what were those moments initially like for both of you of, hey, I'm about to go to a social or congress or festival to perform till kind of everything stopping in its tracks?
For me, I think at the beginning it was like I hadn't processed it, I guess, yet at the beginning. But it was a break that I think at least for me personally, and I know for my family and Ashley, like probably too. We had been living the same way for, like I said, the studio's been open for 15 years. We basically been at for 15 years, being at the studio every day, and then just all of a sudden closing, it just felt like, oh, like we have a vacation now, like a real one, like where we're not doing nothing. And it was like at the first month, like I was chilling. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Not me.
But then I'm like, wait, can be a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I started like thinking, and like I was very anti-Zoom at the beginning.
Yes.
Did not want to teach. Like, it's not the same. It's not going to be the same. I was very anti
Cute. Yeah.
until Ashley is the one that pushed me and convinced me for us to teach on Zoom, and we're still
And
doing it.
He was still like, all right, we'll try it one time and we'll even see on trial basis if it's even good. Or
Yeah.
Not. And I was like, okay, all I need is that one time.
So for you guys that are in their Zoom classes, you got to thank Ashley, okay?
And and when after we did it that one time and the students felt a little bit better, because it's different. Facebook Live is like they're not getting that interaction.
Yeah.
They're not getting the feedback. And I told him, look, we'll be on Zoom, you'll be teaching, I'll be on the camera or on the thing telling them, oh, more this, more that, twist more, blah blah blah, like if I'm there.
Yeah.
And we'll switch. And then he found the flow and he was like, okay, this could work. Started doing Zoom, but then sorry, I interrupted you.
But also like no, like and even now, like I was talking to some of our business partners earlier, that the way we even teach now, it's like I think it's something that it's becoming. The way we're teaching now on Zoom is the way I like to teach now, like in our school is very, very free, very relaxed dancing. I feel like if us as business owners and studio owners, and you own festivals and socials and all these things, we have to go back to fun, because if you're gonna be like, here's the hardest shine in the world, you just come out of a 1-year pandemic and your first class is gonna be the hardest shine in the world, no one's gonna go to class. So we have to bring it back to fundamentals, to fun, to swag, flow. to relax, to fun music, and just be like, it's very free, very light. That's how we get to dancing again and to enjoy it again, to build up to those classes like we were doing on before, you know. But I think through Zoom and all these things is something I have to thank definitely Ashley and doing classes on Zoom.
But not just me too, because before we did Zoom, we started doing like these pre-recorded classes, which are still available if you guys want to do it. Pun right there. No,
yes.
Those were real work.
They have structure. There are 10 classes, and then from the beginning you're learning one thing, and then like you're developing, right? And I had to, my job was to structure everything, to write everything down and be like, hey, Brandon, you're gonna teach this one.
Yeah.
Benny,
we did that with Brian, Brandon,
and
Ashley,
Brian found the platform for us to do it. So we were the first ones to actually use this platform, which is big. And they're still up. If you guys want to take them, go to Lions Dance Academy.
They're worth it. Those are like they tell us those are the best classes that we offer, even on virtual.
And that was the first thing that we did. And then after we did that, it's like, okay, come on, we cannot just keep on adding to this. And we were like, okay, well, now we're gonna do Zoom classes. And then we're like, okay, now they're opening. Now we're gonna do Zoom and in studio classes. Yeah. All right, Zoom and in studio is getting a little rough, so we're gonna do Facebook Live and in studio. And then Benny and I are gonna do our own thing.
Like I was telling you earlier, it's like I think Zoom is a great way of including people that do want to train and do want to continue learning from afar. So like my advice, I guess, to people, because I'm gonna do it, so is I know it's harder, keep doing it, because you are helping people, you are reaching new demographics, new people. If you just all of a sudden stop and go back to what we were doing before, then we're not really pushing forward. You're just going backwards. I think now it is the time to continue doing in studio. And if you're blessed enough to have people that want to train, don't take it away from them, because people message me all the time, and I think we are helping people with dance. It's a great way to relieve stress and to heal and to connect and heal.
Absolutely. I definitely believe that. Like I told you as well, was during a pandemic, and we had this conversation. For me, I noticed, especially on the West Coast, you guys were really key and really on it when it came to the social media side, because we realized with artists, all right, now that you're having events taken away, what alternatives now are they going to use? Are they going to be consistent and stay relevant and still put their product out there and still brand themselves? Or are they going to fall by the wayside? And I noticed this whole year, over 50-60% of the artists, or actually maybe I would say 30-40%, maybe even 50, I'm not even going to lie. I saw that kind of fell and couldn't catch up, because like you said, Benny, it's a lot of work. People don't realize doing Zoom classes, doing online classes, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it takes, like you said, both of you to come to the understanding. You, Benny, in the beginning didn't want to do it, but actually seeing that, hey, we need to still give back to our community, our supporters in some form or fashion, because they don't feel comfortable coming in person. So let's give them the next best thing. And like you said, in reality, it turned out to be, in a sense, a blessing, because you actually created at one point a structured curriculum of what you guys wanted to give to your people, and it worked. And realizing now, like you said, things are slowly opening back up, but at the same time, you with Lions Dance Academy, making sure people can have that alternative of online and in person if you feel comfortable and feel safe. I think that's what's important.
And I think what people don't realize too, just going off that topic, is that the Zoom, if it's a 1 hour class, you're going to work 3 hours, including that. So it's like 2 hours after you finish that class, you have to work still to edit it, to post it up, to do the Facebook group, to do all these things. So people don't realize, like, Ashley and I teach 18 hours on Zoom a month. That's like, I don't know how many hours, 18 times 3. Plus, we work in the studio. We teach 2 hours, an hour in the studio. We train. We go to the gym for like a couple hours. We do a lot. So it's like, and we still, we message people for feedback, things like that. So it's like, it is a full-time thing. And I think now more than ever, I'm definitely proud to say that this is my profession, because it is a real profession.
Yes.
And to cut you off.
It's okay.
The last thing I say To all those people that were saying get a real job, to all those people that were saying dance is not a real job, you have to try it before you knock it. You cannot just knock.
Definitely. And to everyone else that it was really hard. It is really hard. So we completely get it.
Yeah.
And we're lucky because we have a support system. We have a family. We have people that hold us together. It's not just us.
It's
people look at us and they know Benny and Ashley, but we're a team.
Brandon,
Brian, Anita, Mere,
it's
all of us.
It's all of us together. It's the only way it works.
Yeah, that's at least I could say that's the reason why we have been motivated. Another thing. So the classes have been for the public and what we can give to the community, but for us as well, like just us as in Benny and Ashley. I want to thank Adolfo for doing that Mambo in France. Because of that, we made up our new routine, Fuego y Palante. Because Benny was like, oh, no, Brian was like, you guys are gonna do Joe Cuba with like tricks and everything? Like no one's even gonna applaud for you.
That one was my brother.
He was like, no one's gonna applaud for you guys. You guys should just do a routine with no tricks.
Just dancing.
And Benny was like, okay, yeah, Ashley, you're gonna learn in a month. We're gonna do it in a month. I was like,
well, because I had that idea of doing that song.
Yeah.
Tried it maybe a year and a half before, 2 years, but it didn't work. We weren't there yet, dancing wise, to do that song. Because then my idea was, if this routine that we did, Fuego Palante, which I think for me is my favorite routine, if you were to plug it into 2000, 1999, 1980,
1999?
No, so like early 90s, early 2000 era, if you were to plug it there, it works. Because the dancing is there, the flow, the swag, the movement, the musicality is there. Yeah. I always tell people, because they're always talking about dancing, like, oh, you should do hip hop, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm always like, the reason I don't like to train in other styles is because I haven't mastered salsa or mambo. I don't think I ever will. I do take influence from other styles. But to be able to dance a classic piece, like a romantica piece, right?
Yeah.
The purple one that you put, and then to be able to dance a Fuego y Palante, which is more just dancing, straight up dance, and to be able to dance with Brandon, and then to be able to dance with a team, like it's different. And like you said, they're all different. You are dancing different styles. It's just how you see it, how you perceive it. Because if I was to dance salsa the same way I dance with Ashley, with Brandon, with somebody else, then it'd be like, why am I going to hire these people when I could just hire you? You wouldn't have to hire the team. You would have to hire just one person. So it doesn't benefit. It benefits me if I'm only thinking about money. But about, you know what, we all got to eat. We all got to make some money. We all got to work. Then the reason I do certain things with Ashley that I don't do with Brandon, or that I do things with Brandon that I don't do with Ashley, is for that same reason. If you want her or the project that we have, but you like that one too, then it's just beneficial to all work together. All three of us.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's important. Realizing is that it's about the family aspect first. You understand that we're in a business that people want to make money, but when you put your family and those morals intact first before anything, I think that's where it does separate you guys, because many people just see the money alternative and just run that way. But seeing how you guys, again, stay genuine, stay grounded, and staying humble, that's what really shows. And again, like I've told you, I've appreciated this whole past year, what you guys have been able to contribute to your community, whether it's in Portland or abroad, realizing, especially over the year through Facebook and Instagram, realizing also how much of a sports fan Benny is. But, you know, just understanding in total to without dance, I think what I've appreciated even more with people like you and Ashley and others is seeing the human side to who you guys are, because so many of us just see you at performances or shows or through YouTube. Yeah. Many people would have a preconceived assumption of who you guys are through looking at you at a social dance or just seeing you on a performance stage. But having this type of opportunity just to have a discussion about who you guys are before dance, while you're having dance in your life, and now adjusting to a new normalcy in a sense, I think that's really what's important. And now I think it leads me to my closing segment called The Randoms, which is about 10 questions that should allow me to get to know both of you a lot better. Since it's two of you, I think it'll be even more fun seeing the answers. Some answers I might change up or add to, but I definitely think it should be fun. So all I need to know is when you both are ready.
We're ready.
Good.
All right. Number one, this question, of course, is for both of you. What is, or if you could have one dish right now, what would it be?
I would have Benny spaghetti.
I would
Mm.
tacos.
And is this Ashley's tacos or this is tacos outside?
From outside.
From Mexico.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Some of my favorite tacos are from Tijuana.
Yeah,
Specifically. Yes.
exactly.
Like,
For
I've
me,
never seen, yeah.
the taco specific is suadero. That's the specific.
Yes. Yes. I love those. And for me, I can't believe I had to go to Mexico to realize you don't put lettuce and tomatoes on a taco. So,
Only cilantro, onion. That's it. That's all
Taco
you
Bell.
put.
You're talking about Taco Bell right there.
oh my God. All right. So, next question is if you both could be at a social right now, you had one song you could dance to, what would that be?
Go you first. Don't look at me.
I would probably dance Lluvia by
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And also from Rey de la Paz, I would probably dance Tu y Yo.
Oh yeah, that one's
That
a
one?
banger too. We've been listening a lot to Luis Ramirez and Rey
Luis
de la
Ramirez
Paz.
and Rey de la Paz.
They're sick.
So you might see a routine by one of those songs.
They're sick
soon.
together, man.
There you go. There you go. All right. Next question is for the both of you. What is a dream vacation destination for both of you?
Go first.
For me, I've always told Ashley this. For me, my dream vacation is to go to, and we can go down the street, but just to be in a hotel and just sleep and wake up, eat, sleep, wake up.
Wow.
That's my dream vacation. Yeah.
I would like to be in a place like somewhere in Thailand, like somewhere like that, where there's beach and clear waters and
She wants to do the Hangover Part 4.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
or something. I don't know.
Yes. Big love from Edwin Rivera all the way out there in LA. Man, you know what, Ashley, thank you, because I see Benny is not a hard man to please, it seems right now. If all he needs is a hotel room and some AC and a pillow here and there, some chocolate,
Because there's AC, he's fine.
Yes.
Actually.
AC. I'm actually like, I know like maybe I'm very loud and not outspoken, but direct. But I'm a very simple person.
Yes,
I'm
very
not
simple.
I'm not complicated. What you see is what you get. I'm very, very simple.
Except when you have costumes that look like they were.
You have a costume.
I turn into a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You know how when the girls get all dressed up and they're like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, he's the same way.
He's like, "I look so hot. I love it."
I gotta prep myself.
I love it. All right. Next question is, what is a big don't for both of you when you were social dancing with someone? And I think you know what I mean. I'm talking about whether Ash, you danced with a lead that was maybe really too rough, didn't smell good, just aggressive. I mean, I know you have those.
For me, a big don't is drunk people.
Oh yeah, Benny hates them.
Yeah, I don't like dancing. Even like I always tell Ashley, I'm like, I don't care if the girl's hot. I don't care if whatever. But if she's drunk, I don't like doing drunk. I don't do drunk.
That's very good.
Yeah, because I've seen drunk people and like they were not ugly girls, right? They're pulling me onto the dance floor, literally like pulling me, and I'm like, yo, I said I don't want to dance. Like you're too drunk. Like for real, like it gets sometimes like, yo, this is really happening right now. But I mean, I guess it's part of the job, right?
Sometimes.
Well,
big don't for me is like people thinking, not enjoying the moment. Like they're just like, oh my gosh, seriously? Like you're off timing or you did this or whatever. Like things like that. Like they're not just enjoying the moment or trying to acoplarse. Like, how do you say that?
Yeah, just go with the flow.
I don't know. That's not what I'm trying to say. When they're dancing with someone and going to their skill, they're not trying to. They're trying to be either more difficult because they hear it, and I get it 100%. But it's not the time or the place to do it with that person. So that's one thing I don't like. That's a big don't for me. Just stick and dance with the person you're with.
That's true.
I would definitely say, to kind of add to both of your explanations, when you're talking about drunk girls, Benny, I know what you're talking about because I'm also I'm the videographer at these events, and there's a lot of footage I put out, and there's a lot of footage I don't put out. And realizing, also, I would say with your style of dancing, Benny, especially it depends on the follow. I mean, especially the songs, because you're dancing with someone who's intoxicated, and you think about doing a few more extra turns that can, you know, I've seen people throw up. I've seen sloppiness, and
it goes for guys too, obviously.
Yes,
it goes both ways.
No, it definitely does. And I would say to come on Ashley's part with that, I completely understand what you're saying, because I think a big issue with not being present in the moment or stick to your skill set, it happens when the camera is around.
Yes.
It normally always happens, because I do a thing many people don't know when I used to film also on the West Coast was I don't like putting a big bright light on you sometimes. I like to be inconspicuous, to have you be present in your moment, because I notice what happens is you have two dancers dancing socially. Once that light comes on, there's three things that happens, or a few things that happen. Mainly one person is on it, other person's scared shitless, like deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
One person has a certain motive of when they see the camera, this is what I will do. The other person is like, I just want to have a good time. And then there's those people that are on the same page, because when you know you're at an event, you know you could be filmed at any time, and it shouldn't feel like a pressured moment. I mean, it should just be genuine. So I think a lot of leads and follows need to understand, whether it's the way you're dressing, presenting yourself, whether it's the way you're communicating with the person you're dancing with, because you know these songs can go anywhere from, at a Congress, 3 minutes long. If you got a band, that's 10 minutes of dancing with someone that you really don't want to dance with at that moment. So I know those, I know how those moments feel. So the next question for Benny and Ashley, what would you consider yourselves as a spirit animal?
I'm a dog. I'm very loyal.
Okay.
Me, it would be, I feel like lion is too obvious. It would be like between a lion and an ox.
Why an ox? I haven't heard that one.
Because oxes are underestimatedly, a new word I just made. And maybe you can perceive as they're not being as strong as they are, but oxes are pretty strong.
Yeah, but they're also very relaxed, and you're not.
I feel like the place where I'm more relaxed now.
Well,
but you know what?
That's why he said lion and ox.
Yeah, because I think I'm growing up. I'm maturing. I'm seeing the world as it's intended to be, which is a happy place. And the pandemic, I keep saying it's a blessing, and it is. I mean, you can see it in many ways. It might be the wrong thing to say, but it's a blessing because it showed me that everything in the world is luxury. Everything luxury. And the reason people were having such a bad time during the pandemic, obviously, apart from not including people losing their jobs, which is terrible, right? And people losing business and stuff, but for some people that did have jobs, the reason the pandemic was bad was because they stopped having luxuries. They stopped being able to buy stuff and go out and spend money. And it's just like, well, you don't really need to do that, but we're nobody to say what you do or don't need. But in terms of me, it's like, I've saved more money now than I ever have in my entire life, you know? Yeah. So it's like, it's a blessing because it showed me like, maybe now, like the new Yeezys came out yesterday, right? And I'm just like, I have them in my cart. I want to pull the plug, and I'm just like, I don't need them. It's a luxury that I don't need. And I think I'm starting to learn more discipline in terms of spending, which I know people have always discipline and like, yeah, you got to be active and you got to eat well and do this. But usually when it comes to spending, people don't have a limit to that.
I like that.
As in the world now, I just see it as, it's like Ashley says, it's good to be better in the moment, be with family, be surrounded by good people. And all we need is a home, good food. And that's really all we need.
And that's why he's an ox.
Yeah.
I love how you put that. All right. Next question would be for both of you. If you could dance with one dancer right now at a social, who would it be? But disclaimer, it cannot be either one of you.
I was about to point to Ashley because that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
I know who he'd say. But does it have to be someone that I've danced with?
No, it could be anyone. Maybe someone you wanted to or have danced with.
I really want to dance with Terry or
Mm.
Elise. I haven't had the chance to,
You only
but
choose one.
it's okay, Terry. If I had to choose, I love Panayotis too, but Terry, I would love to dance with him because he just looks so flowy, and I would love
Yeah.
to feel what he feels when he listens to the music. He's
Mhm.
in the moment. He's been doing this before any of us now, right? And he dances very in the moment. I would love to dance with him.
Okay.
I don't know if Ashley, maybe she guesses it right, but to me, it would be my social dance partner, Natasha Tia.
Yes, I guess they're right.
I think for me and her together, it makes sense when we're dancing together. The
Social.
connection is there.
Yeah, I think that's very key when I ask that question
Yeah.
because connection,
Yes.
whether it's a person you've never danced with or a person you're used to dancing with, connection is key because ultimately you want to have an experience with whoever you're dancing with, especially at a social or a congress. So I definitely love that answer.
And really quick on that subject too, I'm just gonna go all out today. I know a lot of people in that case would have said someone that's more popular or
Mhm.
Super popular.
no, like more popular, like just in terms of general, like they go with the most popular person in the world
Yeah.
right now. But to me, Natasha Tia is an amazing dancer, and like what I say, for me, what counts more is the connection. Does that make sense? So for me, like even being like in me and Ashley or me and Brandon, like being popular never to me doesn't matter because I'd rather be that person with an amazing show that nobody knows than a popular person that is kind of like, oh, they're cool. That's
All right. I like it. I like it. I definitely respect it. All right. Next question would be for both of you. What would be your superpowers if you could have one?
I would be the Flash.
I knew it.
I would definitely be the Flash because I think he can really do anything. Right? He can go back in time. He can go to the future. He can vibrate through walls. He can heal fast.
If you guys don't know, Ashley's a big Marvel nerd.
Oh, okay.
Love
I
superheroes.
love the Flash. The Flash is DC, okay?
Oh, DC?
Yeah.
My brother's like, it's DC.
Wait, I was like, wait,
DC.
DC. But I was like, I don't want to put him down.
When it comes to superheroes, though, she beats me when it comes to superheroes. She's on it.
Yeah. So I love the Flash. I would be him.
I think for me,
don't say Superman. I know what you're gonna say. I think.
I gotta think. I think I'd go with Batman.
I knew it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's reliable.
And
okay, he's reliable.
He's reliable and not controversial, but I like that he has two sides to him,
which is very controversial.
I mean, most of the times you would call those people Geminis. So it's just
Gemini.
I'm a Gemini.
Oh my God, it makes perfect sense. Gotcha. See, everything just works. All right. Next one here would be for both of you. I need to know 3 people that have been most influential to you at this point in your life. And when I mean 3 people, you can put your family in one as one if you'd like.
For me, my top would be obviously my family first. Second would be Adolfo in terms of my career. And third would be, actually, no. Second would be Kanye West.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow. That's controversial. That's
yes.
And when it comes to rap, the reason I fell in love with rap was because of Kanye West first. That's how Jay-Z and all the production like that he did. Then I went to Double Doubt. Then we went to like Wu-Tang. Well, I'm a OG.
Wow.
That people need to understand is not Kanye West the person.
It's
the
Kanye
artist.
West
the artist.
The artist.
Man, that Kanye West.
And
because he
even,
has a lot of
and even
like,
when it comes
faces.
to business, it's cool. Like I don't really care, but when it comes to the artistry and the production and what he's brought to rap, like it's he's for real. Like he made like
He changed music.
Yeah, like he made trends that people at the beginning, like with skinny jeans and the way he was dressing at the beginning, and like with polo and the pink polo and all that stuff. Like,
oh my God!
People were probably talking crap, but then like after, like they were doing it too. So the way I see it is like when we start to performances and even the costumes we wear, things like that, is like you can hate on it for like a second, and I don't mind, but after a while, you're gonna be wanting to wear it too, you know.
I mean,
I was waiting for him. And then third, obviously, is my. I like to say he's my first maestro in terms of mambo, in terms of that elite level. Because my first teachers obviously are my parents, but my first teacher outside of them is Adolfo. So I feel very blessed to have been with my parents and then been able to go straight with Adolfo. That's like that was a surreal moment for me. So he's obviously number 3.
I think for me, like if I mention people, they're mostly all in this house that have really like helped me. Definitely, the first person I would always say is Benny, and the reason why is because I felt like I don't think I was like in a gutter. I just felt like I was losing myself in terms of dancing, artist wise. And he was like, "Hey, let me give you a hand and let's get up there." And he would speak to me with all these craziness of Kanye West and rap and everything.
Well, the way we're talking right now with you, that's the way we talk in real life.
That's how it should. That's how it really should be. You have to, because the thing is this: if you're gonna be direct, Benny, you have to be direct with substance. There has to be something, to be understood rather than just talking.
Yes. And he has made me think of things that I never thought of before. And I think that he's definitely influenced me in my adulthood and just the way of life. And another person would be his mom. Like his mom has been a huge supporter for me.
Mama love.
In a good way and a bad way. She'll be like, "Oh yeah, I don't really like this. This does not look good, and you should dress more like this or whatever." But because she tells me those things,
she's my mom's her manager.
Because she tells me those things, I can be like, okay, this doesn't look good on me. I need to wear this. I need to dance more with my hips, bend a little bit more, be more feminine, less masculine, things like that. I'm able to switch. Yes, it hurts to hear it, and I'm like,
tough love.
But if I don't have that tough love, then I won't grow as a person. And I think it takes a special person to be like him, that be influenced by Kanye West. He can be influenced by Mike Tyson and all these things. I've been recently being influenced by like not a specific person, but a type of training. I've always been influenced by a type of training, and bodybuilding right now has been really influenced, and Benny as well. And
I've seen the photos. I've seen.
Gotta get the game.
I'm not like him. I won't post it. Because I know that there's people that are gonna be trying to correct us and things like that, and we're novice. That's how you say novice.
Novice. Yeah, novice.
When it comes to bodybuilding, so we know we still have to correct a lot of things, and we have a coach that's been like really pushing us, and
shout out to Coach.
To our
Rhode
coach, Island, who has really been pushing us. So those are the 3 either things or people that have really influenced me.
Okay, I love it. I definitely love that answer. And it brings me now to my last 2 questions. And the second before last one is, what is a special talent that many people wouldn't know that you both have?
I don't know. I think we're pretty outspoken with the stuff that we do, but
I think for me, my biggest talent is design.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good artist in terms of even drawing, like the costumes, all the costumes, like they were my designs, all of them.
Wow.
So I drew them out. I posted some stuff on Instagram, but like usually if I'm pretty like and that's why like I love, Kanye so much, because in terms of design, in terms of the stage production, when he does the concerts, it goes with the music, goes with the music video, goes with the wears, like, and for me, the way I like to, really quick 1 minute, I like to do the costume first so that it aligns with the song. Therefore, the choreo comes from these 2 things. If you have the choreo and then you're like, okay, now we pick the costume, or it's like you wouldn't pick the song before you do the choreo. So why would you do a costume before you do the choreo too? It has to go with it so that you can see how it moves. You can see how it's presented in terms of presence and all these things you're saying. So for me, definitely it's costume and song together, then it's choreo. That's the way I like to do it in terms of producing. And that's when I can really say that we produce our shows from beginning to end, because everything is in-house. Nothing is from somewhere else.
Got it.
And for me, I wouldn't say I have a one talent, because what people tell me to do, that I'm like a trooper. I'll do it like a soldier. And I think that that's why Benny and I really work together.
I think Ashley's
because I'm a
best,
soldier.
her best talent is not giving up. That's her best talent, because she could have gave up on dancing even when, like she said, she was losing her artistry too.
Yeah.
So, like, she could have stopped dancing. And a lot of people have told Ashley, she's like, you're lucky you have Benny and his family. They saved you. They always tell her, they saved you. And I'm like, nah. But because if she would have given up on dancing, then all the stuff that even me, like, that I've done with her, and after, like, the show, it obviously, the stuff that we do together oozes into what I do with Brandon, just from a different perspective. Like, nothing would have happened like the way it happened. And I think the way it happened was the way it was meant to be.
Gotcha.
So I think for her, it's like not giving up, and she's a fighter, which is, I think, what I needed in my corner.
Two fighters in the same corner. That definitely speaks volumes. So now it brings me to my last question, and I'm actually going to change things up. So this is how it's going to go. You're at a Congress, and you're rushing down to the social. What are actually not even, you're at a Congress right now. What are 3 things you would have to have in your luggage going to that event? And disclaimer, we're not talking about costumes. We're talking about just like 3 things that are in your bag automatically.
The dance shoes count as a costume, right?
Yeah. We're talking about no dance shoes. We're talking about everything else but the costumes itself.
I just feel like that's everything for me. Costumes and the dance shoes.
Have a good cologne.
Yes, thank you. I like that. I like that answer.
Have to go together. If it doesn't, it ruins my day, my weekend. I need to have gel and hairspray. I need to. And then 3rd would be.
Well, I'm already.
I don't want to be nasty, so I'll say my toothbrush.
Well, I thought like hairspray and all that stuff comes with costume.
No.
Oh, so she's even putting you on a. I mean, I would say you can, gel hairspray is fine. That's an aesthetic that just comes with, you know.
Me, for a costume, I need to have my gel. I need to have my hairspray. Everything that I really need, I need it for my costume.
Well, hopefully he's not taking it from you when he's doing it.
Oh,
no, hopefully. Bring your own. I'm just kidding.
No, I like my products work.
And that's what I'm saying, like a perfume and a cologne, all of that, it's a part of my costume because I need to feel good and smell good in order to go on stage. So that's why I'm like, if I have everything that I need to go on stage, I don't need anything.
All right.
Because I need everything.
I'm telling you, Diamond, we're pretty simple people.
I love it. I love this. I love the minimalistic approach because
the dancers that take the carry-on suitcase to a Congress. We don't take the big. Take those. We take the little small ones, and we're chilling.
That's why I appreciate you guys, and trust me, I know what it feels like going into someone's hotel room, and it looks like an abomination, just things everywhere, and it's like I've seen crock pots and food tables and rooms, and we're going. Yeah, people bring everything.
No, we don't do that.
No,
we do. You know what though? I will say we do that when we go to like congresses that we drive to with the teams. Like something, maybe if we drive to San Francisco or we drive up to Seattle or things like that, then you'll see us like we go all like we buy water, we buy food, sandwiches, just cookie things to have in the room so that it's like you don't need to go anywhere. That's what we do it like. But that's when we go all out. But when we're in the room,
when it's just us two,
like I told you, I just need the hotel to sleep, the bed, and I'm chilling.
Awesome. Oh, well, this time actually, instead of concluding it, I actually want to add in one last question.
Let's do it.
For both of you. If you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
I think for me, it would be passionate because when I speak passionately. When I'm creating, I am very passionate. And, when I'm dancing, I'm very passionate. Everything that I do it with so much intensity. So maybe the word is actually intensity, not passionate.
Intense.
But I think that really describes me overall.
Nice. Well, I wonder what Benny's gonna say now.
For me, like really quick, I like watching. I watch a lot of anime. I did a lot actually during the quarantine. I was watching a lot of anime, and they always have, you know, like they always have these characters that's like, and I'm always like with a word at the end of their name, right? Like something the something, right? And I'm always like, oh, my name be, and I'm always like Benny the Great or Benny the Invincible, Benny
he
the
always gives himself names,
things like that, right? So I think definitely it would be like Great or Invincible, something like that. Like for me, like if you try, like if we were in a competition or something, and you try to beat me, I would find the way to try to beat you. Like I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're like in the dance scene, like what we're saying, like if you go on stage and I see you, like I watch all the shows, even when I'm performing, I watch all the shows. And if I see someone like, damn, like that guy went off or that girl went off, like the people loved her, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna beat that. I'm gonna top that. Watch what I do, or like, watch this. Like it's kind of like that, right? That's the way I see it. Which some people can be like, yeah, but there's no art, there's no competition in art and all this stuff. And I'm just like, there's a level that you can get to away with that. But to get to the next level, you need to want to be the best. You have to. There's no way you're not going to lie to me and be like, I don't want to be the best. I just do it for fun. And you're at the elitist level. It gets to a point where Mike said, I'm competitive. It gets to a point where it's like, if you did amazing, or like even like, you know, like I'll say, I'm not gonna say names, but like if a team goes up with 6 couples or 4 couples, right? And I'm just like, it's just me and Ashley or just me and Brennan, and I'm just like, we're gonna outperform you, and we're 2 people, and you're 4 and you're 8, and I'm gonna outperform you. I don't care, but I am, and we usually do. I'll say that humbly. But it's just the way the way I look at it, the way Ashley and Brandon look at it. It's like we cannot be beat. If we were not picked last, then like to go last, right? Like I don't know where I go. And actually, I learned this from my maestro Adolfo. So thank you for showing me this. But I think I've taken it to the next level, right? Like he's like, I don't care if I'm last or if I'm in the middle or at the beginning. He's like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still going to perform good. But then I think we took it a step further, and it's like, I don't care if I'm last or at the beginning or whatever. Like wherever I perform, that's the end of the show. That's it.
Ooh, I love it.
Done. Nothing's going to top it. But that's just me in my head telling it to myself, right? But because that's how I'm going to perform. I'm going to perform like if it's the last thing you see, because that's just the way I want it to be presented. Because if it's short of that, then it's like, damn, like it wasn't really a good show.
I definitely understand. I definitely understand that from that point. So I'll add one more question in. This is a question this is going to be very fun. And I want Ashley's answer first.
Okay.
Will Portland Trailblazers ever win a chip?
Oh my God.
Okay. About this. They're definitely not going to win this one.
Okay.
But
what does that mean?
They're not going to win this one.
Sixth place.
Yeah.
Sixth place is still very far from first.
Wait, who's the first? I think it's the Los Angeles
Utah Jazz.
So
Utah Jazz. I'm sorry.
I think maybe in 2 years. And the reason why I say that is because Damian he's sticking to his team and he's really pushing them.
Yes.
And right now, people are starting to talk about him way more than any other time. And he seems like he's rising to the occasion. So with all of this, will he be like Michael Jordan and tell everyone, now you guys got to train, we got to do this, we got to do that, and we got to push them? That's the next thing that he has to go through. If he can do that and really be a team leader and be like, we're doing this, come on, get up, let's train, boom, then they could possibly win in a year or in 2 years. But if he fails and I know it's putting a lot of pressure on him, but I think that he can handle it. He can definitely handle it.
Yeah, he can.
Then he will definitely bring everybody with him. And I think that he's capable of doing that. Right now, he's really feeling it. He's feeling the fuel. He's seeing what people are saying about him. And I mean, he's proving that he could be. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that he could be better than LeBron because of what he did in the All-Star game, right? If he could play like that all the time, that'd be.
That was a great. So let me see what Benny has to say on this, because he's Dame time from what I see. So.
I was thinking I was thinking earlier again. I was like, I think crazy dumb stuff sometimes. I was like,
Okay.
in Portland, in terms of championships, there's been the Timbers. They won the MLS. I know some people don't.
Yeah, Portland Timbers. Yeah,
won I think like twice now. Brandon and me have won
okay.
World Championship too. And now I'll say not humbly. Now it's Dame's time.
Wow, I like that. I like the way that it. See, I had to bring that question in. For sure. I definitely hope. I would say hopefully in 2 years, Dame and the Trailblazers definitely win because also Dame is from Cali, from LA. So
and he has
I'm sure
he has a chip on his shoulder. He's like he says he wears the O. He doesn't wear a 0. He wears the O for Oakland. That's what his stands for. It's his letter, I guess. So definitely, I think they have a good team. They just need to get a good big, which not hurt all the time because Nurkic is a good big, but he's hurt every year. And I was telling Ashley, I was explaining to her, I'm like, they're not gonna win like that because if you're counting on someone getting hurt, you might as well just sell them. Get someone.
Wow. It's if you're not making the money work for you, you're not really worth it, then you gotta go. And see, the way I asked this question or the series of questions was to get now that understanding of people understanding you guys, besides dancers, are also sports fans. You guys have other things you do besides dance.
But everything relates.
Don't get me wrong. Like Ashley and I, like we're so happy that like things are starting to open back up. Like we've been bowling. We love going to the movies. We love going to.
I don't know. Damon and LeBron are not going in the same category.
This year, just based on this year.
Basing on the All-Star game.
Gotcha.
Even right now, like I was watching some stats, and Damian Lillard is number 1 on the scoring chart. He has more than Bradley Beal, so he might win the championship just in scoring title. Yeah, big thing too.
My maybe is maybe a 10% to a 90%.
But I definitely think like us dancers, like I know we might seem like our lives are very easy, and I've heard it so many times. Our lives are easy. Our lives are relaxed. Oh, what's your real job? What do you really do? Things like that. And it's just like, it's not even annoying. It's just like, it usually comes from the people that wanted to do it and they didn't. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like some hate there. And to me, it's just like, it's not you didn't have it or you weren't that good enough. It's just that you didn't grind enough. You didn't hustle enough. Because it doesn't matter. Some people, there's some dancers that I know that are worlds better than all of the dancers on a certain Instagram page, right?
Yeah.
Don't get that shine because they're not promoting themselves. They're not marketing themselves.
They're like in other areas.
Yeah. And something that I think is good from what happened during this pandemic is we had the people, not we, because we've been doing it. The people that didn't know how to hustle or grind had to learn. Because you have to move, you have to make the money, you have to get the work yourself, you have to bring customers in yourself. And a lot of us dancers were not used to that. They were used to people looking for them. But now that you are looking for work, now it's different. Now it's not. Now it's more of I have to message this person, and now you have to make a group, and you have to make your ticket sales, and it's all like it's a lot of work. So I'm happy for the people that were able to do it in a successful way, but I'm also a little bit. I'm happy that the Zoom did work out for a lot of people because a lot of people were saying it was not going to work out.
It's just in a way, really, to kind of prove them wrong and really show them, like, hey, if I'm putting that work in, I'm gonna make it work. And I definitely would say, honestly, having you guys both on tonight was amazing, especially it being episode 100. And for me, it's about showcasing the talent that means so much to me that I've seen over the years, because as we're going through a new generation, as we come back to our scene in the future, it's going to look different.
Yes.
I mean, people we've seen before and people we haven't. And for me, like I told you and I wrote, you guys for me are the leaders of that new generation, because realizing you had those people that inspired you. Now you're doing the inspiring. And me now having this platform that I can bring artists like you on, create these relationships, but also have your voices be heard by many others, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, on a radio station, just to have someone listen to your stories and be inspired by it, but also now know a little bit more about you guys. So in the future, when they do see you, they can say, hey, Ashley, I didn't know that you were studying with behavior intervention, and I didn't know Benny was into basketball, into, Portland. Hopefully they win. Disclaimer. But, realizing this is why I do it. Having artists like you on, seeing how comfortable you are, and realizing it's not one of those like investigative journalist sequences. It's about a person in the scene like myself, been doing it 24 plus years, now having the opportunity to have your voices heard. Because when we were in congresses and festivals and demos and classes, a lot of us really weren't preoccupied of knowing about other people unless we had that in between time. And now having this moment, now years from now, people can watch this and say, wow, I learned a little bit more about some of my favorite artists. This is why I have you guys on. But at least before we go, I'd love to know if you guys had any last few words, and also any contact info on any future classes or projects you might have coming up.
I do have last few words. And before we promote or anything, I just want to tell people that moving forward, to really get to know the people to your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you. And maybe you guys don't always agree on the same thing. And that's okay, because that's why the beautiful thing about being in this world
is the world works.
You get to really hear what other people are saying, and you get to put into perspective, like, why are they thinking that way, or why do they think that? And not in a judging way, but just be like, okay, you know what? I understand you. I don't agree with you, but I understand you. And that's something that I guess in psychology we learn a lot, is that everybody, the reason that they think a certain way is for a reason. And we are nobody to tell them to stop thinking like that or to move forward. But maybe something I say can motivate them to be a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, I mean, just be happy you're around people. Be happy you have these connections. Be happy that we can be all connected through dance, because that's why I do it. And I love it. And I hope that everyone remembers why they dance.
Yes. And for me, it's going to be, obviously, for those of you guys watching, and for those of you guys watching later, it's going to be promoting our online classes. We actually have a website, and, we had the time. So we did it. Brian, we had to hustle. I figured it out. Yes. It's bennyandashley.com. Super simple. You can go on there and just look at the classes coming up. And we're going to start, now that we're traveling, we're going to start putting a calendar up there to see where we're going to be in your cities, hopefully very soon. Yes. From Portland to the world.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Boris Lara. Love the... Oh, it's Boris from
Yes.
Yeah. Hey. What's up, brother?
And absolutely, just like realizing what you guys again would been able to accomplish even through this pandemic we're in. Definitely support the online classes, that support the work that you guys are doing. And evidently, I hope it definitely in the future, when things are much safer, I'll be taking a trip out to the West Coast and Cali, and hopefully I can take a trip out to Portland and do some video work with you guys. And
my mom's gonna cook for us. My mom's the best cook I know.
Oh man, absolutely. And I would definitely say when I go to Portland or Hillsborough area, I need to get a voodoo donut. I know.
We'll take you, and we'll take you to something better than that too.
Even better, man. Honestly, Benny and Ashley, I thank you so much for appearing all the way from Portland area, Hillsborough to be correct.
Yes.
Coming from New York, myself, Diamond, from the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast. This was episode 100, and so thankful to have special people like this, Benny and Ashley from Lines Dance Company. Big shout out to the Ayala family. Big shout out to the West Coast, but big shout out to specifically Benny and Ashley for honestly being, like I said, leaders of the new school. And definitely people check them out as well after this interview. I will be posting the link to their website, so all of you can get their information as well. It's been really special. We're almost like an hour and 45 minutes, almost just went by like that. But honestly, I thank you guys so much for taking your time out to speak to me and everyone else included. I thank you all for tuning in. And everyone, please have a safe night and be well.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.